now on KCRA3.
We are following breaking news out of Roseville. Police investigating a homicide involving multiple victims. We have a live report with what investigators are saying.
Sacramento officials are reacting tonight to allegations they accepted money from marijuana dispensaries for their campaigns, how it may be connected to the Ukraine and a scheme to influence elected officials.
And sanctions for PG&E after recent power shutoffs impacted hundreds of thousands of customers, plus how the governor is calling for the company to pay up.
This is KCRA3. We begin with breaking news.
That breaking news in Roseville, we're learning disturbing new details about an active homicide investigation where there are multiple victims.
So police in Roseville are telling us that they got a call about this incident from Mount Shasta just after noon today. Now, right now, they are investigating at an apartment complex in the 1800 block of Junction Boulevard.
A lot of information still developing right now. Let's go to KCRA3's Brandy Cummings. She's live in Roseville with the latest from police. Brandy?
Yeah, guys, that news conference wrapping up just a few moments ago. As you mentioned, Roseville police saying today they got a call just after 12 p.m. from Mount Shasta police. And Mount Shasta police telling them that there was a suspect at their department at that time saying that he had committed a homicide. They actually found one of the victims inside that vehicle. Police saying they believe that this suspect drove more than 200 miles with that body inside the vehicle. We want to show you some of that video, some of that live Copter 3 video from the scene. Again, this is a look at the apartment complex here in Roseville. That sole suspect, the adult man, has been detained. Now, again, one of the victims found in the vehicle. Meanwhile, Roseville police saying that they found 3 additional victims dead inside that apartment complex. That video you're looking at right now. Now, we did speak to Mount Shasta police. They're telling us tonight that it was a male victim inside the car. However, they did not give an age. We want you to take a listen now to some information that we just learned from that news conference, again, wrapping up just moments ago.
We would consider this a quadruple homicide, and I think this can really have an effect on all of our first responders and people who may or may not know these victims. So this is a very heavy impact to our community.
And right now, police are saying that it was, again, a sole suspect involved in this. No identities have yet been released. They did also say tonight that they don't believe there is a concern for other citizens, other people living in the city of Roseville, although they said they are not ruling anything out. This investigation well underway in its infancy. However, we do expect to learn more tomorrow. There's another planned news conference tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. So, guys, as we learn more tonight and as we learn more tomorrow, of course, we'll be passing it on to you.
Okay, so yeah, a lot to cover here in this developing story here. So thank you for that, Brandy. We do have a live look now from the scene of the investigation from our crew. This is on the ground. This area you can see is taped off at a distance while police continue to go through items there and wait for a warrant to be able to search the premises. So earlier this evening, Live Copter 3 was over the scene here. We saw police tape up crime scene detectives at the site. So yeah, you can see the 2 different shots here. Now, we can tell you that, again, like Brandy said, 3 of the homicide victims were found at this apartment complex. Another victim was found in a car that the suspect drove, police say, to Mount Shasta, where he turned himself in.
Let's cover some other news for you tonight. Marijuana, the Ukraine, and a scheme to use foreign money to influence U.S. elections. A California businessman is under arrest tonight, and now questions are swirling about potential connections to Sacramento's cannabis dispensaries and elected officials.
We are concerned about whether or not there's a foreign source of money finding its way into the campaign coffers of city office holders.
There are some twists and turns in this investigation. We're hearing from multiple Sacramento leaders this evening.
And KCRA3's Mike Lurie's been digging into this, and he joins us now to break it all down. Mike.
Colson, this is a case of follow the money and campaign contributions made to city officials, including Sacramento Mayor Darrell Steinberg, City Councilman Jay Chenier, and others from characters connected with the marijuana industry.
The story begins with Andrei Kakushian, a Ukrainian-born U.S. citizen arrested in San Francisco last week. His parents had no comment, but helped free him from jail by securing their home as part of a $1 million bond. Kakushian has been linked to retail marijuana dispensaries in Sacramento.
How you doing?
Along with another man, Garib Karapetian, who is believed to own several pot shops in Sacramento, even though the city has strict rules on multiple ownerships. Karapetian has reportedly donated approximately $3,000 to Sacramento Mayor Darrell Steinberg, and there were also reported donations to Sacramento City Councilman Jay Chenier, and that's troubling to government watchdog Craig Powell.
We believe it's an inherent conflict of interest for any city office holder or any candidate for city office to be taking any money from any holder of a city license or permit.
Mayor Darrell Steinberg declined an on-camera interview today, but in a statement he told KCRA3, if this story is true, then our cannabis licensing process, which was designed to protect consumers and reward local law-abiding businesses, is being improperly exploited. Steinberg's office said the mayor is immediately returning the 2016 political contributions by donating them to Sacramento Boys and Girls Club. Steinberg is calling for an immediate investigation into the licensing process, a process that has been without a formal leader since Joe Devlin vacated his post as Sacramento's pot czar very abruptly last May. Councilman Jay Chenier was in New York today, but told me by phone he supports the investigation and says he's also given the donations to nonprofits, but Craig Powell is demanding more.
Well, what we're asking for is for the FBI to come in and do a thorough investigation of the circumstances under which this campaign cash was donated, whether rules were broken.
Campaign contributions from the pot industry were also made to Sacramento Assemblyman Kevin McCarty and Sheriff Scott Jones. We contacted both of them today. McCarty said, I am giving campaign contributions in question to local charities and will work with the city to help increase oversight and transparency over local cannabis operators. Sheriff Scott Jones said this about Garib Karapetian, who he said, I do not recognize this name or when, if ever, I may have met him. His donation is one of about 3,500 I have received in my various campaigns.
So we're hearing from the FBI, reports from the FBI that they're investigating these campaign contributions from these cannabis shops. What are you hearing about that?
So we reached out to the FBI several times today to confirm that information, and we did get a statement from them. They said, and this is a quote, the FBI generally neither confirms or denies investigations. So we'll follow up on this for sure.
All right, more to come. Thanks a lot, Mike. Appreciate that. Well, slammed with sanctions, California Public Utilities Commission is now issuing sanctions against PG&E for what it calls failures in execution during the largest planned power shutoff in the state history to avoid wildfires. The commission's president says that the utility must have a goal of restoring power within 12 hours instead of its current 48 hours, also minimize the scale of outages and improve communication. Its website frequently crashed, and a lot of folks said that they didn't even know that their power was going to go out. PG&E did not immediately comment on the sanctions, but Governor Gavin Newsom today issued a statement demanding more accountability from the utility. The governor urging PG&E to provide affected customers with an automatic credit or rebate of $100 for residents, $250 for small businesses that were impacted. The governor also sent a letter to the Utilities Commission confirming that they will conduct an inquiry and review of PG&E's decision-making process. Now, PG&E did respond, writing in part, we executed this event in accordance with our wildfire mitigation plan as approved by the California Public Utilities Commission. It goes on to say, we made that decision to keep customers and communities safe. That was the right decision.
In Stockton, a shooting leads to a truck crashing into the fence of a home.
A wild scene, police investigating what led up to the driver being shot in the face before that crash. In the meantime, KCRA3's Melinda Meza talked with a family in that home who woke up to a scary scene.
A broken fence, broken plants, and broken security as a car crashed through this yard, nearly missing a home.
I was really shocked.
Anna Martinez was about to fall asleep when she heard the alarming noise.
We heard all these gunshots going on, and right after that, I heard a big bam somewhere, but I never thought it was here.
She quickly learned that sound was from a truck that ended up in her aunt's front yard.
She was pretty scared.
The San Joaquin County Sheriff's Department says the driver of the truck was shot while driving on Byrd Avenue. He then took a turn on East Main Street. Investigators say the truck was traveling down Main Street when the driver lost control. His truck went right through a wrought iron fence and stopped right before the home.
And the car stopped right over there. And when I got here, there was a guy outside the car, and he was all bleeding.
The 33-year-old driver is expected to live. His 24-year-old passenger was not hurt.
No, we don't believe this was a random shooting. However, we're hoping that detectives will gather more information.
While the investigation continues, this family is counting its blessings. Now the family is starting to clean up this entire mess, these broken bushes, the broken fence. They tell me they know it could have been a lot worse. They say they know it could have been deadly. In Stockton, Melinda Meza, KCRA 3 News.
And detectives still don't have a motive for this shooting. They're asking anyone with information to give them a call. I-80 closed in both directions this morning by Davis after a collision involving a big rig. Around 2:30 this morning, the Highway Patrol says that big rig collided with an unoccupied truck that was stopped between lanes of traffic. The big rig jackknifed and blocked multiple lanes of the freeway. No one was hurt. It took crews until after 6 a.m. to get that truck off the freeway.
In Sacramento, a busy downtown intersection is once again the scene of a crash. One vehicle overturned in a two-car crash at 12th and I Streets. And just 3 weeks ago, there was another crash at that same location, which damaged a restaurant. It had just repaired damage from yet another crash that happened earlier this year. KCRA 3's Vicki Gonzalez has more now on a growing concern there.
The exterior to Bangkok at 12 still looks rough. The Thai restaurant still repairing the damage following a crash 3 weeks ago, sending one car through the dining room windows. Now, with another close call.
One car was upside down.
Last night, an overturned two-car crash sent multiple people to the hospital, the latest in a string of collisions.
I kind of get used to it now, but good things. Last night we already closed.
The construction today is the second time this year Tirayu Pupong's business has been damaged from crashes.
They try to beat the light when they see the yellow, and they just keep pushing the gas, and it happens all the time. So that's why I don't put any table over there anymore. No more table over there. Yeah, to keep customers safe.
The city is aware and responding. In the past 3 weeks, rolling out improvements from tree trimming, signs to slow down, and adding a longer pause between traffic lights for those in a hurry.
We've also increased the all red timing of the signal, meaning the vehicles have to stop for a longer period.
But despite the improvements, this busy intersection is the scene of yet another crash.
It's a corridor that is inbound to the city. A lot of vehicles. We have light rail present. We also have a lot of pedestrians.
As for Tirayu, he's looking forward to the repairs, but also concerned more needs to be done.
Are you worried that it might happen again?
Yes, absolutely. Please help me. I want to be here, but if it keep happening, it's very hard for us to stay here.
In Sacramento, Vicki Gonzalez, KCRA 3 News.
As for the latest accident, 3 people were taken to the hospital with minor injuries. As for the cause of the crash, that's still being looked at. However, the city is still trying to find more long-term solutions. They just submitted for a state grant to research this popular corridor with the goal to improve safety there and also, of course, to reduce crashes.
A change to student schedules. The new bill signed by Governor Newsom to change start times for classes for some California kids.
And in the weather, this is the sunset at Lake Tahoe. Just a beautiful sunset underway, but it's going to be kind of chilly again tonight. I'll show you that and the changes for this week in just a couple of minutes.
Sleeping in. A new state law aims to help adolescents get more rest. The law signed yesterday by Governor Newsom changes the start times for middle and high schools across the state. KCRA 3's Leticia Ordaz visited Rockland High School to get some reaction from students.
Rockland High School starts classes at 7:45 in the morning, but come 2022, students in the Golden State will get to sleep in a little more. High schools will have to wait until 8:30 to begin the day.
I go to bed really late and I wake up really early, so I get like 5 hours of sleep. So I wake up really tired.
With the governor signing the new legislation, public schools will have to comply. High schools will have an 8:30 start time, and middle schools can't start before 8 a.m. The new law won't impact elementary schools. Some students say they aren't happy about the later start time because it also means a later dismissal.
I feel like it kind of runs into problems with starting later means ending later, which means less time after school. which is a big conflict for me because I do a bunch of after-school stuff.
I would rather just keep it the way it is. It's because then we start school earlier, which means we get done earlier, so we have more time to do homework and our sports and our other activities.
Research says the health benefits outweigh the concerns. Later start times are said to lessen crashes among teens, reduce depression rates, and make students less likely to be absent.
If we started at 8:30, then we'd have time to wake up, and yeah, I would really like that.
Working families say it will be a challenge to get kids rides to school later, and school districts argue it's going to be a costly logistical nightmare to rearrange bus and class schedules. School districts now have 3 years to make the change.
It doesn't affect me. I'll graduate before it ends up taking effect.
In Rockland, Leticia Ordaz, KCRA 3 News.
Public middle schools and high schools in California have until July 1st of 2022 to implement these later start times.
The governor also signed a bill that would develop resources and training for public school teachers to help LGBTQ students. It's AB 493. It helps train employees and teachers to support 7th through 12th graders and help them get resources that they need if they're being bullied, harassed, or otherwise feel uncomfortable in order to improve their experience in school. The governor also vetoed some bills today. One of the bills vetoed would have required elementary schools to have at least one full-day kindergarten program. The other bill he vetoed was expanding paid family leave. It would have required school districts, charter schools, and community colleges to give 6 weeks of full pay for pregnancy-related leaves of absence. The governor says the bills would have cost the state too much money. All right, turning to KCRA 3 weather on this Monday. And how about this? A live look outside from our Rayleigh-Field sky camera looking back toward the city, and yeah, not too much movement with the flags today.
Let's get a check-in with our meteorologist Mark Fina to find out more.
Well, and that wind or lack of wind is still causing a lot of that haze that we have in the area. That's the way it looks in Sacramento down at the Capitol, and yeah, it's not perfectly clear. They still have some haze around, still coming down the hill. We have 76 degrees in Sacramento, and there is the wind. It is flat just about everywhere. Currently in Stockton, we have 77 degrees with a light breeze out of the north at 6 miles an hour. In Modesto, we have sunshine. It's also 76 with a light northwesterly wind. A really comfortable evening tonight, but the air is still very dry. Just 33-degree dew point. That means very dry air, and that means a pretty chilly night. That'll send the valley down into the 40s by morning and the foothills down to the upper 30s to about 40. In Fairfield, that's the way it looks right now. Mainly clear skies in 76, and in Tahoe, where we'll get down into the teens and low 20s by morning, just that beautiful glow out there. We have 53 degrees and the wind is calm. Right now, we are seeing a pretty nice evening. We're coming off a pretty mild day. Now, the average daytime high for this time of year is now 79. We were above that up and down the valley, making the low 80s. The foothills made the mid 70s, and in the high Sierra, very mild for this time of year, mid 60s. Now, we are still seeing some smoke come off the Caples fire. However, it isn't putting up as much smoke as what we saw at the end of last week or even during the day Saturday. So a lot less smoke, but the problem is that the smoke that we have is still drifting down the hill, and there's not enough wind down here to kind of stir it up. Well, that'll be changing later on this week. While we have mainly clear skies right now, there's a weather system out here that as it approaches, it'll give us some wind, so it'll stir the remaining smoke out. And with that fire putting up a lot less smoke, we'll likely only have to deal with smoke during the day tomorrow. And then as this weather system goes by Wednesday and Wednesday night, it'll clear it out. Also, there is a chance we could see a couple of Sierra showers from that Wednesday night and very early Thursday morning. I don't expect we'll see anything in the way of snow, and even in the Sierra, we won't see much in the way of rain, and then the rest of the forecast for the Sierra is dry. Tomorrow it'll be mostly sunny with light winds. I have 63 in Tahoe. Pollock Pines, you'll likely still wake up to some of that smoke in the morning, and so will Placerville and Camino, and maybe even Auburn. By the afternoon, temperatures will be in the 70s, but once we get past tomorrow, I think that smoke will start to clear out during the day Wednesday. Nice day tomorrow in Napa with a high of 74, 79 in Fairfield. And for the valley, our early morning temperatures will be down in the 40s, a cool start to what's going to turn out to be another mild day. So maybe one of those typical fall days you want a sweater in the morning, but you don't need it by the afternoon, as it'll be up around 80 degrees and 83 in Sacramento, 81 degrees in Roseville. A few clouds on Wednesday, a chance of showers maybe north of Highway 20. But once that cold front goes by, our daytime highs stay cooler, staying in the mid to upper 70s, and the weekend looks good, upper 70s to around 80. Really, anything you have planned this next weekend looks like it's going to be really, really nice.
Looking forward to it, Mark. Thank you.
Thanks.
Elle, you're never too old to get fit. One woman has been doing this for over a century. We talked to the exceptional woman who hits the gym at 102 years old.
Then tonight, 11 o'clock, researchers on their way to an octopus's garden off the coast of California, what they're hoping to discover deep underwater. Reaching for a brighter future, today students in the Twin Rivers School District took part in a college fair to see the possibilities for a higher education. That fair, held at Rio Linda High School, drew representatives from some 60 colleges and universities and the military. Around 1,500 school seniors and their parents were able to go there and talk with advisors from the schools to learn about the degrees and the classes that are being offered.
There's scholarships available for students. They talk to them about what programs they offer, what disciplines that they can study, what their GPA needs to be, what financial aid they have to offer. So it's an incredible opportunity for our students.
Students also learn what SAT scores they would need to get into each particular school. And by the way, Twin Rivers School District actually offers the SAT test for free.
Celebrating her long life with a strong workout, one Sacramento woman has turned 102 years old, and she's showing no signs of slowing down. Meet Ida Wheeler. She works out at California Family Fitness almost every day, and today the gym, as well as Ida's family, are celebrating her incredible strength with a party. Gym goers left messages of love and support for her birthday. There were balloons and flowers too. Ida tells us she comes to the gym every week, and her daughters say she's an inspiration to them, so she shared some of her secrets with us.
I'm working out every day, 4 days a week. You have to have rest, you know, plenty of rest, and a good meal, breakfast if nothing else. Wow. But you have your dinner. I eat 2 meals a day.
She's doing 3 sets. Yeah, that means she gets in there. And when she's at home, she's gardening and doing her roses. And then she takes out the trash. And yeah, she does a lot for her age. She's truly something to see.
Active inside the gym and outside the gym. There she is with her family, and they are just enjoying every moment, every day. And she looks wonderful.
I know. Well, you know, the key is really, for whether you're 102 or 52 or whatever, just get out and move, do something. And obviously that's worked out great for her. Yeah. All right, well, a former top National Security Council expert on Russia testifying before Congress and what lawmakers in Washington, D.C. are saying about the impeachment inquiry today.
Plus, the president's team talks about options on Syria as violence in the country escalates after U.S. troops began pulling out.
And calls for justice in Fort Worth, Texas, after a woman is shot and killed by a police officer in her new home. New details on that story.
From KCRA3, this is breaking news.
Welcome back to the news at 6:30. We continue to follow breaking news out of Roseville.
Police say a man has admitted to killing 4 people at an apartment complex on Junction Boulevard. Investigators say that man drove with one of his victims in the car some 200 miles up to the Mount Shasta Police Department, where he told police about the murders. Right now, detectives are on the scene of that apartment. We do not know the ages of those victims or anything about the suspect at this time.
PG&E slapped to sanctions by the California Utility Commission for what it calls failures in execution during the power shutoff last week. The commission wants PG&E to have a goal of restoring power within 12 hours, minimize outages, and improve communication with customers. The governor today also calling for PG&E to be accountable for those shutoffs and even calling for the company to issue credits to customers. PG&E defending their move, saying they shut the power in the name of safety of their customers.
Well, now to the latest on the escalating violence in Syria. The Syrian government, the troops there are advancing in the north towards the border with Turkey, which could mean a clash with Turkish forces.
The military situation is deteriorating after the sudden pullback of U.S. forces. KCRA3's Sally Kidd has more from Washington, D.C.
Violence escalating as Turkish forces press forward in northeastern Syria. President Trump deciding over the weekend to expand a limited troop pullout into a complete withdrawal from the border region.
Very complex, obviously, situation between 2 allies that we have been partnered with for many years.
The president moving forward in imposing sanctions against Turkey.
The sanctions that were announced today will continue and will worsen unless and until Turkey embraces an immediate ceasefire, stops the violence, and agrees to negotiate a long-term settlement of the issues.
The Kurds have turned to the Syrian regime and Russia for help. Syrian government troops moving into the area today.
This is a huge win for Assad as he gains back territory, and this is a major loss for the United States as it not only loses its area of control in northeast Syria, but also credibility and legitimacy.
President Trump tweeting, "Anyone who wants to assist Syria in protecting the Kurds is good with me, whether it is Russia, China, or Napoleon Bonaparte."
There are real doubts about whether or not the Syrian regime will be able to control ISIS in the way that the Kurds were able to. And so we could well see the reemergence of ISIS.
Hundreds of ISIS supporters have already escaped prison. Now, Turkey is justifying the invasion in a letter to the UN, saying it is countering an imminent terrorist threat from Syrian Kurdish militias. At the White House, Sally Kidd, KCRA 3 News.
Now, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says that she's spoken with Republican Senator Lindsey Graham, and the two apparently have agreed that Congress needs to pass a resolution that would overturn the president's decision to withdraw troops. Pelosi also wants to see a stronger sanction package than what the White House is considering.
In Hong Kong, pro-democracy protesters gathered today calling on the U.S. Congress to pass the Hong Kong Human Rights and Democracy Act. Demonstrators lit candles and waved the American flag as they push for more westernized reforms. Hong Kong's government released a statement on the matter, saying that it expresses regret over the demonstrations and reiterates that foreign governments should not interfere in Hong Kong's internal affairs.
Well, the Fort Worth police officer accused of shooting and killing a woman in her own home over the weekend has now been charged with murder. And earlier today, that officer also resigned. 28-year-old Tatiana Jefferson's family says that she had been playing video games with her 8-year-old nephew when she was shot and killed by the officer who had been responding to a welfare call. You can see him there on the body cam video walking around the outside of the home, coming up to a window and then firing through the window. The police department says that the officer never identified himself as being from the police department, and today her family asked for a federal investigation.
Our family now is asking the city of Fort Worth to exhibit the same characteristics of a Tatiana Jefferson, to be honorable when it comes to narrating the memory of this beautiful soul, to have integrity and bring the federal government in to investigate, to be committed to a swift and appropriate prosecution.
On behalf of the men and women of the Fort Worth Police Department, I'm so sorry for what occurred. You, Tatiana's family and friends have my apologies, my condolences, and my prayers.
Well, the police chief said if the officer had not resigned, he would have been fired for violations of use of force. City officials say they hope to bring in a panel of national experts to review the police department's policies. Again, that officer charged within the last couple of hours being charged with murder. They've also asked the FBI to investigate for any civil rights investigations, or violations, I should say.
One person still missing after a hotel under construction collapsed over the weekend. The Hard Rock Hotel came crashing down Saturday morning. Right now, painstaking efforts underway to find a worker still buried under debris. Another 30 people were hurt. Huge cranes were brought in to stabilize what's left of the hotel, which has been under construction for a year now. Right now, some of the best engineers in the country have been brought in to help.
This continues to be a rescue mission at this time.
They're in there with some search dogs, both some live dogs and cadaver dogs.
Officials say the site passed an inspection in late September and insist a complete and thorough investigation will follow rescue and recovery efforts.
A Christopher Columbus statue covered in red paint. Police in San Francisco are now searching for whoever vandalized that statue near the Coit Tower. It was found like this on Sunday, the same day as the Italian Heritage Parade happened in North Beach. On the statue was written, "Kill all colonizers." Today, by the way, is Columbus Day, a federal holiday that recognizes Christopher Columbus's voyage to the Americas in search of new lands and spices. The day has come under scrutiny by some Native American populations who call for the holiday to be named after them. Well, last year, San Francisco did vote to replace the Columbus Day holiday with Indigenous Peoples Day to honor Native American people. And with that in mind, Governor Gavin Newsom issued a proclamation today declaring Indigenous Peoples Day. He tweeted this afternoon that today is a day to reflect on truth and healing, a day to acknowledge our history and the suffering and exploitation that was sanctioned by our state and nation. We cannot undo those wrongs, but we can speak truth and commit to doing better. Those are the governor's words. In San Francisco today, Native Americans from up and down the West Coast celebrated Indigenous Peoples Day with a special journey on the water. The Native American Canoe Journey commemorates the Alcatraz occupation. That standoff back in 1969 started as a symbolic occupation about awareness of Native American civil rights, and it turned into a full-scale occupation, and that went on until 1971 before it fell into disarray. The canoe trip started at 6 this morning with more than 15 tribes and groups taking part. Some of the canoes were hand-carved, and those taking part today came from as far away as Washington State, and they say that they just wanted to pay homage to their elders who were part of that occupation.
We really want to honor that legacy of those warriors that came into that important work 50 years ago and continue that tradition and do it in a good way.
When the groups got back from their trip, they gathered for songs, dancing, and were available to the public to teach about their customs.
Well, as Congress returns from a 2-week break, President Trump's former advisor on Russia has come forward now to testify in the House impeachment inquiry.
Her name's Fiona Hill. She's answering questions about a shadow foreign policy operation aimed at gathering dirt on Joe Biden. Alice Barr gives us a look at what lawmakers on Capitol Hill are saying.
Revealing another crack in the Trump administration's wall of defiance against the House impeachment inquiry, Fiona Hill walked into closed-door testimony today. President Trump's former top advisor on Russia and Ukraine brought in to tell lawmakers about an alleged shadow foreign policy in which the president's personal lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, sidestepped official channels to gather dirt on Joe Biden and his son, Hunter.
They were basically working at cross purposes with official government policy, which was to oppose and root out corruption in Ukraine.
Hill sets the stage for testimony this Thursday from the ambassador to the European Union, Gordon Sondland, whose appearance goes against White House wishes. In a text message exchange, Sondland denied a Ukrainian quid pro quo, military aid for investigating the Bidens. But NBC News has learned Sondland is prepared to testify that he didn't know the facts behind a denial that came directly from President Trump. Republican lawmakers backing up the president.
The typical diplomatic process that plays out when the hard-earned tax dollars of the American people are going to foreign governments.
President Trump keeping up his attacks, tweeting today about Hunter Biden's announcement he will step down from the board of a Chinese investment company, despite no evidence of wrongdoing.
No one has asserted my son did a single thing wrong. No one has asserted that I have done anything wrong except a lying president.
An escalating war of words as Congress returns to a ramping up impeachment inquiry. House Intelligence Chairman Adam Schiff now says the whistleblower at the heart of this investigation may not testify over fears of protecting that person's identity, as President Trump keeps calling for him or her to be unmasked. In Washington, Alice Barr, KCRA 3 News.
Coming up on our news tonight at 10 and 11, it is considered by many to be a landmark in Folsom. An investigation is underway to find out who vandalized it.
This Folsom fixture is now missing its face. Police are investigating as the community is coming together to help with a facelift.
We'll have more on that story on our news at 10 on My 58 and 11 right here on Channel 3.
And up next here on the news at 6:40, concerns that a major roadway could be closed off to drivers during an emergency, including when the power is shut off.
And in the weather, beautiful and mild today, but there are some changes this week, including some areas could even see some rain. I'll show you where and when in just a couple of minutes.
NorCal weather. We see it all. Sizzling and sunny here, frigid and foggy there. That's where Mark Finan comes in. Mark knows NorCal weather better than anyone. KCRA 3, where the news comes first.
We started Bell Brothers with a truck, a phone, and a strong desire to serve the area we grew up.
In 25 years, we've grown to over 200 employees and 140 service trucks,
which helps us get to our customers quickly.
Our technicians do a great job out there.
And our 8,000 plus 5-star reviews show it. I'm Jerry.
And I'm Kenny. And we're the No Surprise Guys.
Because the price we quote is always the price you pay.
Call us now for our $87 drain clearing service at 444-1234.
Did you know Stanley Steamer is the one to call in a water emergency? With a fleet of over 3,000 vans, we get there fast, 24/7. Call 1-800-STEAMER and get back to dry.
Stanley Steamer gets your home cleaner.
The rule of three states, things that come in threes are inherently more appealing. We couldn't agree more. Three SUVs, one GMC. Step up to GMC and get 16% below MSRP on most 2019 Acadia models when you finance through GM Financial. That's over $8,300 on this Acadia Denali. We are professional grade. GMC.
Listen to the call of the adventurer within on the only airline that gives you an authentic experience of Hawaii the moment you step aboard. Hawaiian Airlines.
Flying nonstop from Sacramento to Honolulu on advanced Airbus A321neo aircraft. The plane matters, so choose well. Find our best fares at hawaiianairlines.com.
Announcing Sizzler Steak, Bake, and create your own custom side salad for $12.99. One hand-cut tri-tip, one perfect baked potato, plus one trip to the salad bar for $12.99. Yeah, when you crave your steak, bake, and favorite side salad, you want Sizzler.
KCRA 3 News at 4.
Your first chance to get up to speed. To learn what's happening right now and to help you prepare for what's next.
Get it first at 4 from the team you trust. KCRA 3 News at 4, where the news comes first.
Well, last week's power shutoff is raising some concern now about an important Bay Area roadway. The Caldecott Tunnel along Highway 24 links Contra Costa and Alameda counties, and there were some concerns that the power outage could have forced it to close.
That closure never happened, but as Tom Vakow reports, some people are worried about when could happen next time.
The odds of the grids on both sides failing at once have always been near zero. Nonetheless, the Caldecott Tunnel complex has long had generators, but that system was there for a very specific reason, a backup to the double grid system for emergency evacuations.
The priority had to be on safety. And so we had redundant systems in place and an emergency system in place and a tertiary, a third level system in place.
But the Caldecott is one of the most important corridors in California. It's essential for earthquakes, tidal waves, or any other major emergency that might require a huge migration either way.
Then we had to get right to work with our electrical crews and work directly with our utility partners in order to get separate generators brought out on site as quickly as possible.
So how much power does the Caldecott Tunnel really need to operate all of its safety systems, its fans, and other operations? It needs the approximate power used by about 6,000 California homes. That would serve the entire population of Orinda. PG&E arranged for a bank of semi-truck trailer-sized generators that were hooked up to supply enough power for the entire vast complex. Those generators will remain on site through the end of December, the end of the main fire season.
Next spring, we are in the process of designing a generator that'll be out there that can handle this should we have the emergency again.
And there's this, PG&E also devised a way to get power to Caltrans Lantos Devil's Slide Tunnel, which will stay in place. PG&E also provided 2 critical generators to BART to keep that system up and running.
Well, the bigger the better. Today was the Pumpkin Way Off in Half Moon Bay, and there were some huge contenders. Take a look at this. About 50 pumpkins were entered into the competition this morning. The Way Off has been taking place for 46 years. Farmers from across California took part, each hoping that their gourd came in on top. Some pumpkins weighed between 500 to more than 1,000 pounds, and some heavy machinery was used to get each one of those on a scale.
This is just crazy. It's crazy fun, and it's a lot of fun to get that pumpkin up on the stage after 6 months of hard work and to see that weight flash on the screen. It's amazing. In August, they can grow 40 or 50 pounds a day. That's like 2 pounds an hour. I mean, I can't think of anything else that does something like that.
It's crazy, right? First place prize money was awarded in the pay by the pound system, with the champion receiving a hefty $7 a pound. And what happens after the competition? Well, some growers sell them to organizations, businesses, and stores that want to carve them or display something cool. And according to the Safeway World Championship website, the winner of this year's Weigh Off is now a two-time champ, Napa grower Leonard Urena, with a pumpkin that weighed, get this, 2,175 pounds. He won more than $15,000 in prize money. How
That's
about
why
that?
that's why it's worth it, right?
How do they even get it to the place?
I don't know.
You know?
What do they give it? Like the little plant food or what?
Antibiotics?
Antibiotics. I don't know, man. Okay,
yeah.
turning to the Case Area 3 weather right now. How about this? A live look at Lake Tahoe from our Skycam network, and
beautiful.
Sunset looking pretty there, Mark.
Yeah, it just looks spectacular. The lake is flat as can be. There's no wind here, and also we have that little glow out there, that orange and kind of purple a little bit. Well, we still have some smoke and haze in the area from that fire that's burning south of the lake, and that's giving us some of that glow. But man, what a beautiful picture. Temperatures are in the 70s right now. We have 53 degrees in Tahoe. It is going to be chilly again by tomorrow morning, with most areas getting down into the 40s in the valley, 20s and teens in the high Sierra. Nothing in the way of a wind, and I've been talking about that, about how we haven't had any breeze, so that's why that smoke and haze is hanging around, especially in El Dorado County and parts of the valley. But that will be changing later on this week. I don't think there's going to be much change tomorrow. But this weather system here is going to change things up. While it goes by, it's going to most likely kick up some nice breeze on Wednesday, and that will help to clear the smoke out. And then it's this actual cold front itself that'll bring some areas a chance of some showers late Wednesday night and early Thursday morning. Let me show you that. This is tomorrow morning. Tomorrow's a beautiful day. It's going to be a lot like today. Temperatures up around 80, sunshine, light winds, and likely El Dorado County, Amador County is probably going to wake up to some of that smoke once again, but that should be clearing during the day Wednesday. All right, let's get into Wednesday. This is Wednesday morning, a lot of sunshine, and then the afternoon we get some clouds. But if you work outdoors, if you have things to do outdoors Wednesday, we're not going to see any rain during the day Wednesday. This is 8 p.m. We're going to see maybe a chance of showers north of Highway 20. That's 2 a.m. And then that kind of sinks down into the foothills. But during the day on Thursday, that's gone. So it's a very slight chance of rain, generally north of Highway 20. None of that tomorrow, just sunshine with highs in the 80s. Wednesday, some clouds with highs a little bit cooler. After the cold front goes by, temperatures will be cooler throughout the end of the week, mid to upper 70s. And then there's the weekend, mostly sunny with highs in the upper 70s to around 80. So I know it's Monday, but go ahead and make the weekend plans. It's going to be perfect.
Love it.
I like that.
Thanks, Mark.
Yes, I do too. All right, let's talk about Sacramento Kings. Tonight, the Kings are in action on the road as they look to win their second in a row. Plus, I'll recap what the first place San Francisco 49ers did over the weekend. Also, NASCAR's Cup Series race today provided many major mishaps as the Talladega Superspeedway, look at that, in Alabama, it did not disappoint. That thing went like all the way over, back on the tires.
Now, KCRA 3 Sports, powered by Toyota.
Welcome back. I'm Del Rogers. Last Thursday, the Sacramento Kings won their first preseason game, and tonight they're at the Utah Jazz, hoping to make it 2 in a row. In the first quarter, currently the Kings lead by 1. It's 25-24. Sacramento on top. Tonight at 11 o'clock, I will have the final outcome for you. The San Francisco 49ers had a lot riding on yesterday's game at the LA Rams, their undefeated record and their first place in their division. San Francisco's offense, led by Jimmy Garoppolo, put up 20 points on the scoreboard. Jimmy G passing for 243, plus he ran for 1 touchdown. But it was the play of the 49ers defense that should get most of the credit. Local product Eric Armstead, who played at Pleasant Grove High School in Elk Grove, he recovered this fumble right here in the second half. San Francisco won 20-7. They improved to a perfect record of 5-0.
We gave them a chance to get back in the game with the fumble on the 1 3rd down. But the D stepped it up right again, held them on the 4th down, and after that, kind of had a feeling that if you just don't turn it over, we'll win this game. Haven't been a part of too many. I haven't had that feeling very much in my career, and the defense definitely gave it to me.
Our other Bay Area team, the Oakland Raiders, are coming off of a bye week and will play at the Green Bay Packers this Sunday. Now, speaking of the Pack, they're hosting the Detroit Lions as we speak tonight. In the first quarter, the Lions looked real good. After a field goal, they would extend their lead. Kerryon Johnson plows into the end zone, staking the Lions to a 10-0 lead. But the Pack, they would battle back in the second quarter. Jamal Williams takes a shovel pass and would not be denied. Look at this straight arm. He scores for Green Bay. Currently at halftime, the Lions lead 13-10. Now to local college football, Sacramento State quarterback Kevin Thompson was named the Big Sky Conference Offensive Player of the Week for what he did over the weekend against Montana State. Kevin Thompson completed 23 of 30 passes for 260 yards. Plus, he threw 3 touchdown passes. He also led the team in rushing. He had 74 yards. And he had a pair of touchdowns on the ground. That's 5 touchdowns for the Hornets in their 34-21 victory. Next for Kevin Thompson and his Sac State Hornets is homecoming this Saturday against Montana. Major League Baseball's postseason continues tonight as the Washington Nationals try to go up 3-0 against the St. Louis Cardinals. The Nats hosting the franchise's first ever National League Championship Series, and it was packed. And it didn't take long for the home team to do good. The Nats scored early and often. This third inning single by Adam Eaton scored a run, and it put Washington up 1-0. In fact, the Nats scored 4 runs with 2 outs on the board. This double by Howie Kendrick scored the final 2 runs of the inning. In the bottom of the 5th, the Nationals lead 4-0. Mark, you said it was like 6-0 now? 6-0. Wow. All right, now to NASCAR. Yesterday's playoff Cup Series race was postponed until today because of the much rain they had at the Talladega Super Speedway in Alabama. Today, Mother Nature allowed the NASCAR guys to take the track, but the yellow caution flag was the main topic. 4 laps to go in stage 2. Alex Bowman slides up the track, and then the dominoes start to fall. The crash takes out several cars, including Jimmy Johnson, who's on fire, rolling down the track. Kyle Larson, he's out of Elk Grove, won last weekend. He was involved in that deal. But the big one, it came with 7 laps to go. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. forces the 18 car of Kyle Busch to the outside, and then watch the 62 car of Brendan Gaughan. His car gets airborne, does a complete flip, and lands back on the tires. During his flip, the rest of the racing field around him avoids him. These cars weigh almost 2 tons, and this thing does a barrel roll in midair. Now, to restart, the field shuffles several times before the final 2 laps, and it's a photo finish to the finish line. Ryan Blaney winning by just 12 inches, edging out Ryan Newman. The poll for this week's High School Playbook Game of the Week is up and running. Here are your choices for game played Friday, October the 18th. Those are the 4 games you can select from. Bam, 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 bam. There they are right there. To vote, log on to KCRA.com. You'll need the code word to make your votes. Code word can be found by watching a 10-second video in the High School Playbook section.
I'm still just in awe at that video.
Oh, the guy flipping?
Yeah.
He walked away.
Everybody all right?
Yeah.
It's like he could have just kept on driving.
Yeah, he may have did something to his fingernail or something, but other than that, everything was cool. Yeah,
Thanks,
cool.
Thank you.
All right, we've got a lot coming up for you later tonight, including the latest on that quadruple homicide that happened at a Roseville apartment complex. We'll, of course, have the day's other news for you coming up a little bit later tonight. We hope to see you then.
Thanks for being with us.